everyone, welcome back to the Keep Watching podcast, where we decide what to watch so you don't have to. I'm Sarah.
And I'm James.
And today we're going to be talking about Heart Signal for episode 13. So James, how's it going? We're really
Good.
getting near the end of this Heart Signal stuff, huh?
We gotta crank through the end of this and catch up to the actual live. But there's, I think, 2 days from now it's going to be episode 15 out.
Yeah, we got a little catching up to do.
Yes, we gotta catch up. I'm excited to catch up. But we just released our podcast for episode 12 like 2 days ago or yesterday.
Yeah, I think it was yesterday.
Yeah. We don't have any listener comments, but I do have one.
Okay.
From Interregnum, as always. And Interregnum is still picking Mingyu to pick Yisu at the end, which I will admit seems more likely after this episode. But also, I'm very skeptical. I don't know why.
Okay.
It's this whole thing is weird. This whole episode is actually kind of weird when I thought about it more. Yeah, there's like an awkwardness to like what were they told to do today? I'm not sure. And there's something very unnatural about the entire day. And maybe that was just how the pairings ended up, but also like, did they have to be in pairings for the day? Like it seemed like it would have been more natural for like there to be like these group excursions that happened, but it felt like maybe they were told not to do that, but I'm not sure. So
yeah, that's fair.
It was weird.
I don't know.
But I'm ready to break it down. How are you doing, Sarah?
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I think I sound a little bit better. I am less sick now.
Nice.
So that's good. Interregnum also did give us a tweet with their bold final predictions, which lines up with previous predictions pretty much of Mingyu choosing Yisu. But they're also hoping for Jumi to snag Yurei in the end. And I agree. I hope that happens. I don't know that it's going to happen, but I want it to.
I'm guessing Interregnum has watched episode 14 at this point. But based on this episode, I would say it seems less likely that Yurei is going to not pick Jiyoung, but
oh yeah, I think that's still what's going to happen, possible. But it's not what I hope will happen.
Oh yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm more in the camp of I'm pretty sure Mingyu's gonna choose Yisu at this point.
Let's talk about it when we get to the moment. Okay. But my question for this episode is why now? Why in episode 12?
Fair.
Did we get a quote unquote confession? So much was edited out up till this point, but why now? All right.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. Where did we leave off in episode 12?
So everybody went out on their trip dates. Was it spring flower dates or whatever they were calling it? And I feel like nothing much changed except Hoshin seems to have given up on Jiyoung and is now like in wingman mode and gonna support her because he's just like, she won't shut up about Mingyu, so I guess that's what's happening. And Mingyu was super weird on his date with Yisu. It seemed like it was going real well, and then he started talking about Jiyoung and how he needed to figure shit out with her.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was pretty weird.
Okay.
And now they've all back at one house, still in this. They're not back at the original house. They're still on a trip.
To me, that wasn't so weird until this episode. Now it's definitely weird.
Okay.
Like, it made a lot of sense why he was saying that before to me. Like, I could see it. And then this episode, I'm like, oh, well, now I have no idea.
Yeah, he's a slippery one.
It feels like he's like going back and forth on his head, and then he's just like choosing to say the wrong thing in all the wrong moments. What if just like every time he's with a girl, he's like, yeah, the other girl's better.
Grass is always greener on the other side, exactly. He's never actually happy. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
You better figure it out. We're running out of episodes.
And so now everybody is in Yasu, so we're not in Seoul.
Yes.
For this one episode. They're going to go back to Seoul at the end of this episode. Yeah. So this episode is like a second chance at Yasu dates, but they're not like official dates. Maybe, even though it feels like they've been instructed to do dates today, but it's not as official as like choosing the tickets was.
Right.
So it's weird. All right.
Yes.
Apparently every host except for Sangmin picked Jiyoung to pick Mingyu last week. We were talking about who.
Yeah.
So Sangmin actually had it right, but then they got it wrong as a group. I don't know why Sangmin thought that Jiyoung was gonna pick Hushin.
I don't know why she did pick Hushin.
Yeah, I still don't know why.
It was confusing. Yeah.
Yeah, so they finished at a bar last night, and then they're gonna head to their new house apartments for the night.
Yes.
And they're gonna be taking a plane back to Seoul the next day at night. So they have like the day to do whatever they want in Yasu.
Yep.
And then the guys and the girls are in like separate entrances to the same building. I couldn't really tell.
Yeah, it was a little confusing. Yeah.
I don't know if they're in separate buildings, but then they just like ate together in one of the buildings, or
yeah, I don't know. They must have had like separate entrances because I think there's only the one kitchen, and then they have a shared backyard. But
yeah, but then like both of their wherever the girls and the guys were saying, like both had pools, so I feel like they were separate buildings. And then I think like the girls, I feel like the girls just like went to the guys' house to eat breakfast.
Oh, okay.
That's my best guess.
Sure.
But yeah, there are pools, and I was like, oh, we're gonna get some swimsuits on this show.
I mean, we sort of did. There was Hushin.
Oh yeah, Hushin did go
sitting
in,
at the bottom of the pool, like the saddest boy who ever.
Yeah, we didn't get to see him out of the pool. And then like almost immediately, was it immediately? I forget. But at some point, Jimin was just like, "Oh, I would have brought a swimsuit if I knew there was gonna be a pool."
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh, okay. So I guess we're not going in the pool." It's still at nighttime of the same day we left off last episode, and the girls are chatting in their kitchen.
Yes, and Jimin looks sad, and I don't know. The girls seem to indicate that she hasn't been telling them how she's been feeling lately, so they're all confused about who she actually wants to spend time with now.
Yeah, and I think Yisu says like, "Oh, do you want to date Mingyu now?" And then everybody just starts laughing, and as if like that was a joke, and there's no way that would even be remotely possible. I was like, damn, okay. What did she said about Mingyu that was like so definitive? Like she must have said something to them.
She did at some point say like, he says nice things, but I really wish it was Hushin who said them instead of him.
Oh, G1, yeah. But that doesn't mean like I never want to date this guy. I don't know. I feel like she must have said something more harsh.
It also could have been from the angle of, do you now also want, like, everybody wants to date Mingyu? Have you also gotten on the Mingyu train?
I don't think that's what they were joking about. Because, or at least Jumi said something about, like, oh, you have a poop radar now, too. Like,
yeah.
At least Jumi was laughing because it was like, oh, that's a terrible take. And it seemed like Yisu was in on the joke. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. That is probably the angle it's from.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know what she said.
I don't know.
To the girls.
She probably just said, nope, not into that guy, but I did like getting a ride to school, so huzzah.
Maybe. But Jimin eventually says she wants to date Hushin next, which is what we expected.
Yes. And that she actually was hoping that he would have picked her, or that the date they went on that day instead of G1. She only like threw the extra invite at G1 for, that she could get some closure or whatever if they ended up going together. She's like no longer actually interested in him.
If she really wanted to make that date happen with Hushin, like she had to not give G1 the other ticket. Because she had to know chances are if she gives G1 a ticket, she's going with G1. At least I would think.
Maybe. I don't know that they shared all their picks.
Yeah.
And I think like people's secondary picks might have been a mystery for a lot of people.
No, I'm just saying from... Oh, you think Jimin didn't know what the other people were doing? I don't know. Yeah. I mean, like she can't give one to Mingyu because that's too weird. And then I don't really know how she feels about Gyaore.
That would just be an awkward time. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess she would have just ended up going with Gyaore if she had picked Gyaore. So she just is not going with Hushin no matter what. her best chance to go with Hushin is if she gives her second ticket to Mingyu and then just hopes that they can't figure it out and that she randomly gets picked. But then there's a chance she's going with Mingyu, which is awkward.
Yeah. Yep, I think she did the right thing.
Then they ask Jumi, and Jumi says she thought her date would be G1. Not sure why she thought that.
Yeah.
Like, who did she think?
Maybe I just think maybe they didn't think through all the steps of like, oh, if somebody gets one, they're picking that, and then that affects like cascades and affects everybody else's. choices. I don't think they thought all the way through it.
That's poor if they didn't think about it. But then she was very excited when it was Gyaore. So excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where we find out, it's like, they're going back to Seoul at some point. But Jumi is not sure if Gyaore is really looking at her romantically, though, is the vibe I got. Like, and that's kind of how we feel too, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay, so.
She said it felt weird hearing him say that he wanted to repay her for the feelings she's shown him up to now, and she's just like, that's a weird thing to say.
It is a weird thing to say.
That doesn't feel good.
See, like, to me, you only say that if, like, you're like, okay, I'm moving on past this other person, and I want to actually, like, give you a chance and date you.
Oh,
but like
that for me, it would be. I wouldn't have taken it that way. I would have taken it like, "You've been so nice to me. Well, let's just, I'll spend some time with you because you're not going to spend any time with anybody else here. So, we'll just hang out. It'll be nice."
Yeah, that's a dumb reason to say that.
Well, I just think it's a weird thing to say. Like, I don't think nothing about it made me feel like, oh yeah, he's interested in her.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I guess Gyaore just doesn't use the logic I use, but yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Like, if you're just like, oh, we're gonna be the leftovers, let's hang out together. Like, either say that or don't say anything, and then you'll just hang out together. Like, don't don't phrase it this weird way where it sounds like Jumi has a chance, but then in reality she doesn't. I don't. It's not necessary. Maybe she does have a chance, though. We don't know for sure.
She might. I hope she does.
And then it's Yisu's turn.
Oh man, Yisu.
She just likes Mingyu. All right, we knew that.
We knew that. Yeah.
Then she claims that their date that day was the best date she's had since coming here. Which, Sarah, you said that
maybe
date
if
was
you
real
just
bad.
maybe if you cut off the end part, all the parts where they were talking, just the beginning part of the date, they seemed to have a nice time. They took fun pictures. They were out in the world.
The car seemed awkward, and then they went to a beach. No, that's today. That's this episode.
Yeah,
this is the last episode.
They went to some wetlands area that was really pretty, and they were like,
oh yeah.
And then they went to the bamboo forest, and they had a cafe moment, and then they just had a dinner where he talked about Jiyoung for a long time. So if you ignore the dinner part, it was a pretty okay date.
Okay.
But then she says, it felt like we really became a couple. Is she just saying this shit because, she's trying to scare Jiyoung off? Or is she trying to save face? I thought maybe she was in denial, but then we do get a flashback where she tells, I think it's Jimin, that, Mingyu kept talking about Jiyoung. So, she has processed that information and has accepted that as reality. Yeah. I think she's just, I don't know.
So I wrote down that she's trolling, but then Mingyu's gonna say some shit later that it's like, okay, maybe not. Maybe this date was awesome and we didn't get to see any of the good stuff.
But what amount of good stuff would counteract all that bad stuff we did see?
You would have to know the context of that, right? We're seeing it out of context, but to her, maybe if she actually believes what she's saying, she might be like, oh, he just wants to have closure with her, but I'm definitely winning. I don't know. What is it you say? And then the host point out, and I agree with them, that she said, I felt like we really became a couple. But then if you look at her face, you would think somebody would say that with a smile or look happy.
She looks miserable.
She doesn't. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I think she's trying to I think it might be a combination of trying to scare Jiyoung off a little bit and also just save face herself. She doesn't want everybody to know that he's thinking about somebody else while they're on a date together,
Yeah. So my biggest annoyance with if this Mingyu Yisu thing is legit or is going to be the end of the show is that I don't understand why Mingyu would be picking Yisu, because their dates are generic as fuck that we get to watch. We don't get anything overly cute or I just don't get it. I don't understand what a Yisu is. I still don't know anything about her.
Maybe Mingyu is basic and boring and doesn't like the cute stuff or something.
But he liked Jimin. right? Like that was legit, right? The G-Men stuff.
Yeah, he did. I don't know,
man. It like maybe like at the very end of the show there'll be another Yisu Mingyu date, and it'll be like, wow, they are really cute together, and we'll get to see all the things, and maybe they'll give us a montage of all these moments we didn't see. But like as it is now, like this is a very disappointing storyline in my opinion. Like
okay.
I just don't see how this is the main story as of right now. Because it still is. Like Mingyu is still the main story on the show. Yeah. There are like a little bit of intriguing things going on with other people now, but I still think Mingyu's the main story, and I don't know why they would choose this to be the main story if they didn't have anything to show us that was like actually like, hey, this is a cute date. This is fun to watch.
Yeah. And if they did have that stuff to show and are like saving it for a big reveal later or something, that feels bad. Like we're going this whole time not really seeing what makes them make sense together.
Yeah, I agree. I want to see the cute stuff. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm still very skeptical, despite something that's going to happen later. Okay. My only thought was like maybe Yisu just thinks it's awkward for Jiyoung, so that's why she's like, I'm gonna say I felt like we really became a couple, but I don't want to like have a positive facial expression to go with it. But like, just don't say it. Just don't say it if you're feeling bad about Jiyoung. I guess I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then the host kind of talk about like, oh, did this conversation happen before they did the texting in the last episode? Because this could be why Jiyoung didn't text Mingyu.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Which is like, yes, fuck the texting segments if we don't even get the full information before we're supposed to guess.
Yeah.
That. And then we get nothing from Jiyoung in this conversation, which is great.
Nope, nothing at all.
Yeah, she didn't talk at all. No way she talked.
No way. No way anyone would be interested in how her date with Hoshin went at all. Of course not.
All right. And then the guys are talking around a fire pit over on their side of whatever's going on. And then they're talking about who they want to go on a date with next. And I wrote like, are these official dates tomorrow? Like, what's the situation? I'm still confused. And then there's just like a long silence. Like
none of them want to like say it first. But then finally Hushin's like being the ultimate wingman. And it's just like, Jiyoung really likes Mingyu.
And then we get like no big reaction from Mingyu when he says this.
There was a little reaction. Like
they showed his face in a moment that I don't know when it happened, and it wasn't that
okay.
I thought it was very insignificant for such a statement. And I couldn't tell if it was like he as if like, oh, I already knew that, or like I don't care, you know?
Oh, see, I thought there was a little bit of a reaction there.
Oh, really? Okay.
Where he was surprised that That's was possible. So open with somebody else, you know, to be like, and like planted her flag in that sense. You know?
Okay. I didn't see that reaction, but like it would make sense if he had a reaction a little bit with what the storyline is here. So overall, like this thing that happened between Jiyoung and Gyeore is still like, the show is at least making it seem like it's very much influencing everything that's going on with Jiyoung with all the guys, because we're going to find out like Gyeore, like all the guys knew something was going on between Jiyoung and Gyeore. And then when Hoshin, with all the guys in a room at some point, Hoshin asked Gyeore about it, and Gyaore is going to say, like, I don't think I should say. Which is kind of like, if you're the other guys who are interested in Jiyoung, you're like, oh, is it like did she say she really likes you or something? Like that could be what they're thinking. Exactly. And now maybe Mingyu is getting into his head about like, oh, Jiyoung, it seems like Jiyoung might like Gyeore actually. So maybe
he is 100% in his head about all the wrong things. Yeah.
Yeah. He's mostly in his head about like not like he's thinking about what everybody wants, and he's trying to like cater to everybody. And like
except for like the person who he might actually like and who actually likes him.
Like we know for sure that Jiyoung likes Mingyu, but Mingyu doesn't have the same confidence we do.
Yeah, but like in this scenario, theoretically, he's thinking about this so much because he does like her, right?
Yeah.
So like, I just feel like in his mapping out of everything, he should give more consideration to the person he likes and worry about her more than everybody else, you know?
Well, I think he is worrying about her because if he's like, oh, well, if she likes these other guys more than me, I don't want to like be the guy. He doesn't want to be what G1 is basically on the show. I think.
Yeah, but like,
he should be more concerned about himself.
There's nothing about her behavior that like indicates that he is annoying her by hanging around. You know, like she actively seeks him out to go on dates and stuff. Like,
I don't know, because of the weirdness of the group date to the whatever land, Everland,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And how Jiyoung may have like the vibes Jiyoung might have been giving off after that. Like Mingyu could be sensing that and misinterpreting it. I don't know. It's definitely messy.
But like that's also entirely his fault. You know, like he did that.
I'm just saying, like, I can see the mental state that he could be in. What in reality, what I think is he should just be more concerned about himself and not give a shit about everybody.
Yeah.
And then he would just get to the bottom of whatever his situation is.
Then he would at least be less confusing.
At the same time, I'm gonna shit on G1 in this episode for being way too only concerned about himself. So,
well, I think the difference is that like I feel like G1's been shut down a couple times.
He's actually been rejected. Yeah,
and he's not responding to that.
Yeah.
Whereas Mingyu is making up a rejection or something.
Yeah.
And feeling weird about nothing.
Yeah, he's just not confident. Doesn't have G1's confidence. There's a nice in between there where you want to be. All right. Then Hoshin says to Mingyu, "Did you talk it out with Jiyoung? You should for the last time." Which I'm not sure what that is referencing. Maybe that's also the Everland situation. I'm not sure.
Oh, or just I took it as just feelings in general. Like, has he figured out like how he feels about her and what, you know?
For some reason, the way I read it was like, oh, there's something to talk about. And it's not just like feelings. It's like, oh, there's a rift between the two. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like there are other things like last episode that also made it feel like that, like things people said.
Okay.
And like the show isn't doing a great job of showing it, but yeah, I think there is a weirdness between them right now that is more than just him being in his head about all the guys liking her.
I guess it could just be whatever, because Jian kind of expressed her timeline with Mingyu to Hoshin, so maybe Hoshin is like, there's some stuff you need to talk about because Jiyoung told me about it. We get no response from Mingyu after this suggestion from Hoshin.
Yep, the next thing we get is Hoshin being sad in the pool. So
we don't get Jiyoung or Hoshin talking at all in these conversations, even though they're the most important.
Ridiculous. Okay. Yep.
And then who cares about Gyeore and G1? They don't get to talk either.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we don't even get Hushin's feelings either, really, here. It's just like Hoshin talking about Mingyu. The entire guy's conversation is about Mingyu's situation. All right, then we flash back to day 22, which I guess was like 2 days ago?
Something
One
like
day
that.
ago? I don't know. Oh, this was the flashback where Hoshin was asking Gyeore about the misunderstanding with Jiyoung, and then he's like, I don't think I should say. And now all the guys are like, I don't know what that means. So they get to think about
Although
that.
G1 should know what that means, right? He was there when like we're at dinner and like things got weird.
Yeah, G1 was there for the rejection, but I think everybody
not for the apology conversation.
Yeah, not the apology part. So, and I don't know if G1 is willing to say in front of all the guys that he got rejected. Because to him,
and also probably like it's useful information for him to know that she rejected Gyeore, and like if the other guys don't know that, then he can like monopolize on being a little bit more confident about that, at least. Okay. You know.
All right. Then they go back to real time, and Mingyu and Gyeore are roommates in this apartment, and Mingyu tells Gyeore in the room that he wants to go on a date with Jiyoung tomorrow.
Yeah.
And the host actually claimed that this is the first time that Mingyu has mentioned Jiyoung to Gyeore, which is hard to believe, but maybe that's true. At least it might be true.
At least of what we've seen, yeah.
Because I guess there was a time period where like Mingyu knew all the guys like Jiyoung, but like he wasn't really. He was like coming off of
prepared to talk about it, or
like he was coming off of being into Jimin and didn't make it obvious who he was into, and the guys were too wrapped up in their own stuff to force him to say anything, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. And also, I think he's been like deferring to Gyaori's feelings a bit.
I still point back
Jiyoung for the whole time.
I still point back to when all the guys went out to drink, and like that whole conversation was like kind of about Jiyoung, and we didn't get Mingyu's take at all the entire time. Remember that?
Maybe. And then, like, yeah. Maybe,
that was the moment for me.
Maybe he was just
that was
still
like,
too into Jimin, you know? Maybe all of his talk was like,
it's
so
possible.
Cute, but she doesn't like me.
That I'm remembering now that like that was the moment where I was like G1 said something weird, and he like pointed to 3 people about Jiyoung, and it looked like he pointed at Mingyu, but we never got to see Mingyu say Jiyoung.
Right.
That's why that from that moment alone is like why I've been on Mingyu's gonna pick Jiyoung like the whole season. But
yeah.
All right, let's keep moving. Let's get to the next day. All right, let's go. Are you ready for like the most awkward breakfast of all time?
Oh my god, it was ridiculous.
I don't understand why this needed to happen like this. But like it felt like they must have been forced to do it this way. I don't understand what's even going on.
No, I think Mingyu is the whole reason this is awkward, right? Like, because everybody wants to go on a date with Jiyoung, right? But
why do they have to ask each other out while they're eating breakfast right now is the question.
I don't know that they have to, but they're like, they want Mingyu to do his thing and ask her out because they're deferring to him because Hoshin said that she really likes him, and they want to make sure it happens so that way if it doesn't, the rest of them can like try to get in there and ask her out on a date. So they are just trying to rush him along so that way if he decides not to, somebody else can go on a date with her.
I get all that. I get understand the situation. There's something just so unnatural and weirdly structured about this breakfast. I don't know. It's just like,
yeah, why couldn't they eat breakfast? It's kind of weird to ask somebody out in front of like 6 other people.
Like, why is it on Mingyu to like have to ask out Jiyeon in front of everybody? Like, why can't they just like eat breakfast, get up, walk around, then he can pull her aside, and then they can go about their day? Like, why does it need to happen right now? That's what I'm wondering. Like, if this was a somehow forced situation, like I kind of see why it was awkward for Mingyu because it's like very unnatural. I don't know. It's a super weird scene to me. And then it's awkward because of the Mingyu situation. But yeah.
I wonder how much of it is like, so clearly they were all up very late. And maybe breakfast time is more lunchtime. And they're like, we got to get you out on these dates while the sun is still up. Come on, let's go. You know, like just a weird timing issue.
Yeah. It's also, it's very unnatural that they're all like eating breakfast at the exact same time as I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems so structured this whole day.
Well, they're on a trip. You have to have a little more structure or something.
It's like structured, but it's not as structured as the previous day. But it's like structured enough to be awkward. I don't know. Weirdly, they're just eating breakfast and it's like super silent. And then weirdly, like Mingyu is the one who like finally brings up if people have plans today, which also seemed very unnatural for him to be the one that brought it up. No one says anything. And then
Yisu is like staring daggers at him the entire time.
Based on every camera shot we get, Yisu's just staring at Mingyu like they're sitting across the table from each other, and
and like not in a pleasant, welcoming way. Yeah. Just in a like, what are you gonna do? Can you what's happening right now?
Like, can you at least understand why this is awkward for Mingyu? Like, do you get that?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yes.
Like this girl that's like clearly into him is just staring at him while he wants to ask another girl out, and he has to do it in front of everybody, and it's just is so weird.
This is also the guy who, while on a date with that very same girl, talked about the other girl for a good long portion of it. So like.
He's better in one-on-ones, though. He's more willing to open up one-on-ones, but yeah.
But, like, the awkwardness with Yisu should be, like, the least of his worries right now. He already made it maximum awkward during their date.
Maybe.
Although it doesn't seem to affect her, so I don't know.
Yeah. So, yeah, no one says anything. And then, eventually, G1 is just, like, super cocky, and he's like... it's just like, Mingyu, have you decided? If not, I'm going to go. Like, he just like says this in front of everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Mingyu continues to not say anything.
I like the idea that Mingyu was just like, yeah, ask her out, see what happens, G1. Like he just wants to see this shit happen.
I don't know that he's
I don't think that's it, but that's just funny to me. G1 is just so cocky in this moment. He's like the one person willing to speak
absolutely.
Up. And then and then Hoshin finally is just like, hey, Jimin, do you want to get some coffee? And she agrees because they actually wanted to go with each other.
Nice, easy ask out.
Yeah. He makes it funny somehow by like acting like she said no because she doesn't say yes right away. Mm-hmm. Something weird like that. I forget what it was.
I think he then like asked her if there was somebody else she would rather go with, and she's just like, I'll take you outside. And he's just like, that's ominous. I don't feel great about that.
Jimin is super weird in this episode too, honestly.
Yeah.
And then it's just like this silent, awkward moments of the host just being like, why is Mingyu hesitating to ask out Jiyoung? Like, what's going on? Nothing's happening. Why isn't Mingyu saying anything?
Mm-hmm. And I love it at one point, Jimin's just like, why aren't people talking? I want to see people ask each other out on dates before I leave. Come on.
Oh, Jimin, yeah. Whereas like Mingyu's like, as many people leaving as possible will make this easier. So what do you think it is? I wrote like, is he embarrassed because he's doing it in front of everyone? Is he embarrassed because he's doing it in front of Yisu? Or he actually can't decide? Yep. I think it's just doing it in front of everybody in this like artificial situation.
Yeah, I definitely think it's doing it in front of everybody.
Okay.
But at a certain point, like, yes, it's a very awkward situation, but just like fucking do it. Like everyone knows what they're waiting for you to do anyway. Like none of their business is private here, right? Like everybody knows already.
Okay, yeah.
That he said he wanted to spend more time with her or figure shit out or whatever.
The other thing about this,
so like, just do it.
The other thing about this day in particular, because there's also a weirdness where, and they could have highlighted this if they were the main characters, but like Jumi and Gyaore are also not asking each other out. Like you would think Jumi would be asking Gyaore here, but they weirdly agreed on their yesterday to go on a date on like Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, and like specifically were like, let's not go on a date today. And when I think about it, it's like, oh, they know the schedule for today is just kind of shitty. Mm-hmm. So it's like any date today like isn't going to be that great, I think, because they basically have to like quickly go do something and then
rush
like
around,
head to the airport. Yeah. So I don't know if that's factoring in to what Mingyu could be thinking as well. I'm not sure.
I don't think he's out here trying to have good dates. I think he just wants to talk to her and figure some shit out.
Okay. Hoshin then is like trying to set Mingyu up again, and he's like he's trying to make this unnatural situation seem more natural. And he's like,
he's just like, what are you gonna do today, Mingyu? And he's like, I think I'm going to have indigestion. It's like, okay, man. Wasted opportunity, sure.
So honest though. Yeah, the hosts are freaking out. They're like, why? What's happening? Why won't he say? And then Jimin and Hoshin finally leave together. Mingyu still says nothing. And then finally Ji-won asks Jiyoung to meet because Mingyu's
he doesn't ask her to meet. He says, don't you think it's about time you met with me?
It's the same thing. He said it in a weird way, but yeah.
But it's just like, it's such a cocky way. And then she's just like, I'm tired.
It's more of like, don't you pity me enough to spend time with me yet? Kind of what he said.
Oh, I don't know that. I mean, I guess. But I don't know. He said it in his cocky way.
Yeah. And then Jian says, I want to rest today.
And he's like, that's fine, you can rest. And she's like, I want to rest alone.
I think this made me laugh more than anything in the episode.
Yeah.
She's like, Ji-won rejected again.
Yep.
She says, there are things I need to think about. So, yeah. And then Jumi's like, oh, I guess maybe, Ji-won, do you want to go out with me? Why not? Let's... Because Jimmy's like, I guess I'm doing something with Gyaore. I don't know why there's no...
Well, she did say that she kind of had hoped her date yesterday had been with Ji-won. So
I don't think she said... No, she said she thought it was going to be Ji-won. She didn't say she wanted it to be.
It sounded like she
why the hell would
a little disappointed at first that it wasn't.
I don't think so. I don't think that's what she said. No way she wants the G1. Because this isn't even a date, what they do this time. There's no way.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, everything's a date. What makes a date on this show? If they go somewhere together, it's a date.
And talk about how they aren't interested in each other. It's an outing with two people, so yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, fair.
Yeah, so Jimin and G1 leave. So then it's Mingyu, Galray, Jiyoung, and Yisu remaining. And again, now this is even kind of more awkward because now Jiyoung has said, I want to rest today. And I want to be alone and think about things.
Yeah, that is fair. That does kind of make it hard. Yeah.
So then Mingyu just decides to ask Yisu if she has plans. And I said, no, stop this. No.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, and they leave together.
Well, not quite. Like, he goes to, like, there is some time to get ready before leaving.
They leave the table.
Yeah.
Well, they leave the table. It's just Galray and Jiyoung left. I know what you're about to talk about, but
yeah, he goes to his room and he's just like, I'm going crazy.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you just had to ask her, but dude, like, it was weird, but you just had to do it. It's not
that easy sometimes, Sarah.
But like, literally everybody knows that was the plan. Like, tell me who would have been shocked if he asked her out for a date that day.
Yeah, I'm in the head of somebody who's very embarrassed by these situations. That's all. I get it a little bit. Would I have been able to ask her out?
I get it a little bit.
Would I have been able to do it myself? Yes. But would I have thought it was embarrassing? Absolutely. So somebody who gets even more embarrassed than I do might not be able to handle this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just Galray and Jiyoung. And I was like, I guess maybe they're going to do nothing together. And then the second funniest...
Yeah, just hang around the house.
Second funniest moment is Jiyoung agreeing to do something with Galray after telling G1 she didn't want to do shit.
He does specifically say, like, you want to just go somewhere, look at the ocean, and not think about anything? You know, like, he's promising her a day of rest, you know?
Yeah, but, I mean, I guess G1 didn't offer it like that, but I think no matter what G1 was saying, he wasn't going to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's just got to be rejected a couple more times before he'll finally understand that no matter how well she knows him, it doesn't matter. She doesn't want him.
Yeah. So yeah, Mingyu is in his room alone. Gosh, I'm going crazy. This is like serious emotion from Mingyu. I feel like this might be like the most emotional moment we've got from him. Or most obviously emotional moment. Yeah, what do you think this is? Is he like second guessing himself? Is he still just embarrassed about the situation? What do we think this?
Yeah, I think he's embarrassed about the situation and he does really want to have a chance to talk to her to figure some shit out.
Okay.
But he just can't bring himself to ask her in front of people, so
okay. He's
frustrated.
Yeah, Jiyoung does not seem happy. I was like, oh, is this why Jiyoung's gonna cry in this episode? But nope, it's not gonna be that. Yeah, Galray asked Jiyoung out by suggesting it would be a waste to do nothing since they came all the way here. Pretty clever, pretty good stuff.
Sure.
Offers coffee, ocean view, and no thinking about anything.
Yeah. And I'm not G1 seems to be like the core component of this invitation.
This won't be a super awkward date. Yeah, okay. Then everybody's like getting ready, whatever. Then there's a moment where Galray goes back to his room and Mingyu's in there too. And he just like gives Mingyu this look, which like Galray is very happy about how everything played out. Because
100%.
Yeah, and then he says to Mingyu like, I ended up with plans to go out with Jiyoung, and he's like so excited. I wrote, is it possible Mingyu was like trying to let Galray have another chance with Jiyoung, or like
nope,
not necessarily.
No. He's just too awkward.
Not necessarily that like they had like an agreement, but because he is like especially feeling weird about whatever he doesn't know what happened between Galray and Jiyoung. He like didn't want to be the first person to ask Jiyoung, and then after Jiyoung said the thing about not wanting to rest, it like, you know, I could see how the game plan. If he went in with a game plan and then he audibled, but
yeah, I don't think he planned to let Galray hang out with her because like the night before he told him specifically like, I want to go out with her tomorrow. I gotta talk about some shit. Like he was
he did
forward with him and open about that ahead of time.
It could just be he wanted to let any other guy ask her first. And then the G1.
No, I don't think that was the case.
Oh, you don't think so?
That is usually where his head is at, but I think in this case he was, because everybody was specifically going, it's your turn, do the thing, and he didn't do it because he just felt really awkward. That's what I'm going to chalk this whole thing up to.
Yeah, I think it's definitely most of it. He definitely says later something about, like, he definitely talks with Yisu about being concerned about everyone, including the guys. So I was taking that as applying to this situation as well. But I think the embarrassing thing is probably the biggest reason. All right, then they're all getting ready to leave. And Jiyoung goes to a room to talk with Gyeore because they have to like plan out what they're doing on these dates.
Yeah.
That's another reason these dates are weird, because it's like it felt like they weren't like pre-planned locations, right? Something weird about it.
I mean, they might have been pre-planned locations they could have picked from.
Like Gyeore is like literally like on his phone Googling stuff. Like
That's
where's
true.
a good cafe? And it seems like they found one, but it was kind of far away.
Yeah.
And then they go into this room like as Mingyu is like coming out of another room, right? And then Yisu's like, "You ready to go?" And Mingyu's like, "Hold on, I need 5 more minutes." And then he's like kind of looking around, and then he like peeks into the room that Jiyoung and Gyeore went in, and he sees them, and then he like awkwardly goes back to the room that he just came out of because he was like looking for Jiyoung, but she's talking to somebody.
Yeah, he's just trying to have a moment alone with her, and it's not coming easily.
Yeah.
But then like, so the moment she comes out of this room, he kind of basically rushes up to her and he's like, "I need to talk to you for a minute." And they go outside, and he tells her that last night he thought he wanted to go on a date with her today, and he doesn't think they got to finish their conversation. So he wants a chance to talk when they get back to Seoul. So
yeah,
they plan a date for Thursday. They're gonna get dinner.
Yeah, and I couldn't tell, like based on the subtitles, like how this would have come across to Jiyoung, but she seems to be pretty positive about it.
Oh yeah, she is all smiles during this. Yeah,
like the subtitles being like, "Last night I thought I wanted to go out with you today," and then like he's not going out with her today. Like that seems bad.
Yeah,
but then he follows it up by asking her out on a date when they get back to Seoul, which is like theoretically the better date anyway,
I guess.
So yeah. I think Jiyoung's right to be happy about this. Like not necessarily take him negatively here. We'll see when we don't get that date in this episode, but we'll see.
Yeah. I'm just still like, what conversation did they need to finish? Like, I could see her being confused from that front. Like, what is he talking about? What did they not talk about?
Yeah, that is very curious too. It really feels like whatever they're talking about, unless maybe the viewers can help us with this, but it feels like something that was edited out is what they're referring to. Okay. Because the only awkwardness I can think of is the Gyeore stuff, but that's like not finishing a conversation. That's like, I want to talk to you because I'm confused about things because of whatever other things outside of what we talked about. But yeah, Jiyoung says sure with a smile. Yep. And the host thinks she looks happy. You could, if the host like didn't say anything, you could be like, "Oh, is she just putting on a brave face?" But I think she's happy.
That looked like a genuine smile.
Yeah. They agreed to a dinner date on Thursday back in Seoul,
which is like Friday's the last day, right?
Maybe at least the last day to do dates. Yeah. Do we not get this Thursday date until like episode 15?
Oh,
we'll
geez.
have to see. I don't know. Were they in the preview?
I
don't think I saw Jiyoung and
I don't think they were on a date. No.
Hopefully, we don't have to wait till episode 15, but we might. All right.
Yeah,
it's date time.
Now it's time for some dates.
Oh, the other point of note is like everybody that was sitting at the table when Mingyu pulled Jiyoung aside, like they all saw it happen. It was Yisu, Jumi, Jimin, and G1. And then what I thought was so funny was like Jimin had like a big smile on her face as she was watching it, and like everybody else at the table was like, "What is happening?"
Yeah, like is this less embarrassing than if he had just asked her out on a date today? Like the dramatic pull aside, "I need to talk to you outside" while everybody.
I think it is. I mean, like it's
more embarrassing.
I think it is. Like I would prefer like. It's not so much that people are seeing me ask her out. This is how I would feel. It's like that they actually get to hear the words that I'm saying is like the awkwardness.
But it seems so much more dramatic in this fashion.
I mean,
whereas
the show makes
it could have just been, well, also everyone's faces when they watch it happen. But like,
but their faces would have been like that.
Hey,
their faces would have been like that at breakfast too.
No, because they all anticipated that. Like
you think they're
edging
only
it on. Like
you think they're only making this face because it's like, what he asked out Yisu, like now he's talking to Jiyoung. Oh my god.
Or just like, not only that, just like the whole like, I need to talk to you alone outside. Like it's just, I don't know. It just seems a bit much. It just seems like it would have been so much more simple to just be like, hey, do you want to go to a cafe today? Sure.
I think every single one of these dates should have been people asking people out like Mingyu asked out Jiyoung. Like, it shouldn't have been all of them sitting at the breakfast table asking each other out in front of each other. Like, this is way more natural than all the other dates.
Yes, but given that the thing happened already, like, it was just that much worse that he didn't ask her then. It was just so much more awkward. That could have been a much smoother breakfast if he had just freaking asked her to begin with,
Yeah, obviously Mingyu's not... He doesn't do things the ideal way, but I can understand why he does this thing.
Yeah.
All right. Because in his head, I don't know. Does like Mingyu? I don't know if Mingyu at this point. I guess he knows that she's doing something with Galray.
Yes, he does.
So I don't know how he feels about she said she was going to rest and now he's going with Galray thing. But I don't know.
I mean, he should at least know where things stand with G1.
With G1, yeah.
Jiyoung, like he should at least know that he doesn't have to worry about that man anymore.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
I don't remember, something about suboptimal. Speaking of, let's go to this Mingyu Yisu date because it's suboptimal.
Yeah. All right, Mingyu and Yisu. Here we go. All right, they get in the car.
It's awkward.
Mingyu says to Yisu that she doesn't look happy, and I wrote, "How can you tell? How can you tell that she doesn't look happy?"
I don't know that she ever looks happy.
I know nothing about it. I know nothing about her happy face, her sad face, her angry face. I have no idea.
She does look less happy than her normal face. I will say that.
Okay.
But she says she doesn't feel unhappy. She's just frustrated. So I guess it's her frustration.
Wait, I wrote down that she says she can't tell if she's happy, which I thought was a funny thing to say because she's kind of saying to herself, "What is a Yisu?" I can't tell if I'm happy.
Okay, fair. Yeah, so we get a lot of shots of them in the car not talking.
Well, Yisu is talking about how she's feeling, whether it's happy or not. I don't know. Mingyu just has his head is like straight down with his hand in his face.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's not having a fun time right now.
All right. And then they appear to have a silent, awkward car ride where they're like, eventually they do talk about talking, like what they could be talking about. Or what should they talk about?
Yeah, I think he asked her what she wants to talk about because he says that she said she wanted to talk, but she doesn't seem to have anything that she wants to talk about.
She said she wanted to talk? Okay.
Well, he seems to indicate that she had previously said she wanted to talk about something.
Oh, really? Okay.
That does not seem to be the case anymore.
Yeah.
And then he says something about it's exhausting being concerned about so many other people.
Yeah.
And that the situation earlier made it even harder.
Yeah.
But then he says he thinks he's most concerned about her, which is surprising. I don't know.
Well, yeah, he's not
what I would have expected.
Well, he says he's exhausted being concerned about so many other people. And then Yisu says something like, "Oh, you're concerned about other people," implying like, "But you're not concerned about me, right?" Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes on to say, "I think I'm most concerned about you." So, like, it seemed like she wanted to be somebody that he's not concerned about. And then he immediately says, "Oh, no, I'm most concerned about you," which...
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know in what context he's concerned. My bias read is that he's concerned she's going to be devastated at the end of the season.
I took it as he's concerned that she's going to be upset while he tries to figure things out with Jiyoung, regardless of how devastated she may or may not be at the end of the season.
Okay. But then he would be saying, like, he's more concerned about... Yeah, it's... Who knows what concerned means here. It's like...
Also true.
Like, if you're just comparing his concern for Yisu and Jiyoung, it's like, is it good to be being concerned about, or is it do you want to be the one being more concerned about, or you don't want to be the one being concerned about?
I think
don't know.
You'd want to be the one being concerned about. Like,
you do, okay. Yisu doesn't seem to think
you'd want to
so.
be the one. Well, I guess like in this case where he's like freaking out all the time, she probably wants to be a more soothing experience for him, right? Like,
exactly,
the nice calm feeling. But if it's just between you and one other girl, I would want him to be more concerned. Like, whoever he's more concerned about seems like that would be who he likes more, I would think. You know, like whose feelings he's more worried about hurting.
But is he only more concerned about the person that he's not leaning towards?
I don't know what this man thinks ever, so I don't know.
Because it makes sense. It kind of makes sense both ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, that didn't help us crack anything.
Nope.
They end up driving through this like crazy one lane like tight cave tunnel thing. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
The claustrophobic people would not be happy.
Oh yeah.
Yisu says, "I just would have stayed at home if you had gone with Gia."
Yep, because every other time she says like, "Oh well, whatever, I'll just date some other guys to try and save face." But now she's finally being like, "There's literally no one else I want to go on a date with but you."
Yeah, I wrote maybe that's what Mingyu was concerned about. I don't think so though. Yeah, she says you're the only one I want to go on a date with. Then Yisu asks what he was talking about with Jiyoung earlier, and Mingyu says we were just saying we should talk when we get back to Seoul. Does not specify that they have agreed to a date.
Nope.
Okay.
And then she asks why he changed his mind about going out with Jiyoung today, and we never get an answer.
Yeah, that was weird. I didn't even write it down because I was like, okay, TV show. Did he not answer this question?
Who knows?
Yeah, they arrive at their first date spot, which the show told us is their first one. It's like a beach ocean.
Yeah.
Nothing major happens here. It's just like usual, like walking around taking pictures. But the music for this date is like way more like, oh, audience, you should be feeling really good about this date. Like more than it was on their other ones.
Yeah.
I felt like, which I don't know if that's an indication of anything.
Sure.
Could be a trick, could not be a trick. I don't know.
Yeah. It didn't seem like, ooh, this is the best date. It seemed like, yeah, sure, whatever. It was a date, I guess.
Yeah, it seemed like it was cute, but not like the cute, like, oh, you're saying cute things to each other. It's just like they were just being coupley, not saying anything to each other. Which is basically what, like, every Mingyu Yisu date feels like that, and then they go have the conversation where Mingyu talks about another girl. And like that's their date.
Yeah.
Which is like, if these two are going to end up together at the end of the show, that can't be like if that's all we ever got to see in their dates, like it's just so weak. Like if I was editing the show, like I would have been like, we can't make these two the main characters. Like the audience will just not be satisfied. We don't have enough good material for these two. But if they're like the only match, I think that could be I think that's the scenario. I think the two scenarios are like Mingyu picks Jiyoung, and then we might get some other couples, or like Mingyu and Yisu are the only match, and like there will just literally like no good content to make us feel good about it. So they like, but they're the only match, so it's like, okay, these are like the feel good ending too, but. Which it is possible that they could be the only match, because like if all the guys end up picking Jiyoung and then Jiyoung picks Mingyu, then there's not going to be any other matches.
Yeah.
So I think those are the two angles at this point. I just
seems pretty likely.
I just really think like Hoshin and Jimin or Gyaorei and Jumi like would have been the main characters if they got together, and Mingyu and Yisu ended up being the thing at the end. But okay. Yeah, they're done at the beach. They head to a cafe. Yisu touches Mingyu's hair. Ooh, you got something in your hair. Classic.
Yep. The cutest they're gonna get.
Yisu is actually feeling good right now, which does actually kind of make sense from her perspective. Like, she's like, oh, you told me you wanted to see Jiyoung today, but then in the end you picked me, right? So like she's feeling pretty good about herself.
Mm.
She's like, oh, you must have like
Yeah.
had some change of heart, and then you fell like you were like, it's not worth it. I'll just go with you. You'll just go with Yisu.
And then I think he says like it was just hard to make a decision with everybody sitting at breakfast. Like it was just the situation that.
Yeah. Well, he says I have
really
I have a lot of what Mingyu said here. He said, to be honest, I was a bit mindful of it because there are 8 of us. It was difficult for me to make such a choice when all 8 of us were together. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was concerned for everyone, the men and the women. I'm sure someone else also wanted to spend time with you, meaning Yisu, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is not actually true, but I could see why he might think that. And someone might have wanted to spend time with me. Or he's just being nice by saying that about Yisu. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then he says, and here we go. But since we came all the way to Yasu, if I now spent time with someone else and couldn't spend that time with you and Yasu, I thought I'd regret it a lot later. So I wrote in my notes, so I guess the season's over? Why is this happening? What?
I don't believe him here.
Yeah.
I feel like he's just saying stuff to like make her feel better.
Is he picking up the Jimin move? This is the Jimin move where you just like say the thing. This is what you said that Jimin does, right? You just say the thing you're supposed to say.
Yeah.
The weirdest part about this, or one of the weird parts, I won't say the weirdest. One of the weird parts about this is that it then cuts to the hosts, and the hosts are like, "Wow, this is the closest Mingyu has come to making a confession." As if this maybe isn't a confession, but I don't know what I'm missing from like what he is saying.
Yeah. I mean,
something's lost in translation, or
probably. To me, it just sounds like she is like, "Oh well, we're gonna go with somebody else, but you chose me, so huzzah!" And he like tries to say the honest thing of just like, "Well, it was just really hard to ask her out in front of everybody," but then was like, I should not say shitty things. I shouldn't make her feel bad. So let me like cover that up with,
okay.
But also I'd really regret it if I didn't spend this time with you because we came here together, and that's logic. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I don't put a lot of stock in this bullshit he just said.
Okay. Well, this is the big moment of the episode for me, and I am down for that interpretation because it goes with my bias. But you said at the beginning of the episode that you do think Mingyu is going to pick Yisu. So what happened in this episode? If it's not this, what happened?
Okay, let me be clear. He is a mess, and he is going to overthink himself into picking Yisu, I think. Like,
so you actually,
whether or not maybe he would like Jiyoung better, his brain is just incapable of dealing with that situation. Yisu is the easy pick because she very clearly likes him. There's nobody else to contend with. It's just the less stressful option. I think he must like her at some level because he said something to her at some point that made her think that, yes, they're a couple. But I don't like you never see him looking at her the way he looked at Jimin, right? Like,
nope.
I just feel like he never has those like hard eyes when he's looking at her. He doesn't like, there's nothing in the way he behaves that makes me feel like he really likes her.
But you think he's gonna pick her anyway? I'm confused by.
But I think he's gonna pick her anyway. Well, I think he's gonna pick her anyway because he keeps like going on dates with her when like he has other options. I guess that's not true. I did like on there when they were in Everland, he was very cute with her. That was like the one time, but that felt weird and like performative in a way because other people could see it. But then all the texts he keeps picking her, so there's got to be something at least going on between them. But I don't enjoy it. I guess maybe that's what it is. I just don't enjoy it. And I don't really, like, he doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I don't know why he's picking her because they haven't shown us anything that's that cute or that substantial between them. But he just keeps making weird decisions, so I think he's going to pick her.
Okay, so your take's a little weird then. You're like...
Oh, yeah.
Your read is like you think what he just said to Yisu is BS, but you're basically looking at everything else he's saying like, oh, he's concerned about other people, whatever, and because that's his main concern, you think he's going to pick Yisu? Kind of?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Wow.
Because he's just in his head too much about the whole thing.
Yeah, I hope Mingyu wouldn't be the main character on the show if that's the reason he makes me.
Well, I mean, we might never know the reason why he picks her. It might not be obvious.
I'm just saying, like, edit wise, it's just a shitty ending season if that's why.
Well, I mean, sometimes you only got what you got to work with. Like if people aren't being fucking cute, you can't make the show that cute.
Okay, so yeah, your perspective is that's an interesting take.
It's just so confusing. Okay. I don't know. I've talked myself in circles about him the entire season, and this is where I landed.
It almost seems like you're picking the opposite of what your brain is telling you makes sense.
Yeah, because he doesn't make sense. Okay. So clearly it can't be the thing that makes sense that happens.
Okay. Yeah. There's some logic to that, I guess. I'm still just going to trust my gut. That usually goes well on these shows, I think. Okay. Well, that's the end of that date, right? Let's go to some...
Yeah, pretty uninspiring.
Well, I mean, that's the most interesting date on the episode, right?
Yeah, I guess.
I was about to say, we're about to do some dates that are less meaningful.
Fair.
Could mean something. All right. Let's do Jimin and Hoshin.
Yeah.
They're taking a taxi. There's a moment where Hoshin, like, catches a cherry blossom petal, but they're, like, still in the taxi while it's moving. Like, what happened?
Yeah, I don't know, but then he like makes a wish on it, and like this man's serious about his wishes. Like he closes his eyes and like he takes his time, and it happens again later in this date.
Yeah,
and it's just like he's serious about wishes.
When he takes a moment to make a wish, yeah, he stops, he closes his eyes, and he stands perfectly still.
He takes as long as he needs to take to make that wish.
I feel like Hushin's personality, though, would be like, it's kind of performative. Like, he knows, like, I could see myself doing this as like a joke. Like, somebody's watching you make a wish, so then you just get like super fucking serious about it.
No, I think this thing with him is sincere, because like when it happens again later, like it goes on so long that like Jimin finishes her wish and is like, oh wait, he's still okay, I'll close my eyes again. And then like again, I like does it a couple times, and he doesn't like finish and like laugh about it. He's just like, okay, wish time over.
But Jimin is like
he's very sincere about it. Yeah.
She's laughing at him, so I don't know. Yeah, you're probably right. He probably is just serious about his wishes.
He's silly about a lot of things, takes wishes seriously.
Yeah. Hoshin asks her if there was somebody she wanted to go on a date with that wasn't him, I guess, or
and she, or just
in general, I guess.
Whoever she wanted to go, yeah. And she tells him she'll tell him later again.
I'll tell you later at the cafe. Does she say it later? Kind of. I actually forget.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think she does finally come clean.
Okay.
At some point, maybe.
Then, kind of out of nowhere, Jimin just kind of says oh, you must be upset. Like, she like implies that Hoshin must be upset after yesterday.
Yeah.
Is it because like she
thought he looked bummed when he came back with Jiyoung from their date?
Yeah. It's like some combination of her noticing, and then also maybe she kind of knew how Jiyoung felt. So like, oh, I knew that date wasn't going to go well. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, they're going to like a cafe by the ocean, but they go to this ocean area that's like, it's all rocks.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and people pile up stones in little stacks, and so they make a stack of stones.
And then make a wish, apparently.
And then make a wish, right? Yeah, I don't know why you make a wish on the stack of stones, but apparently you do, and this is his second very serious wish of the day.
I did write down here that Hoshin actually gives Jimin his coat.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because she was chilly. And...
He wasn't just like, "Oh, are you cold?" And then Jimin was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "Well, I'm not giving you my coat."
There you go. Maybe serious feelings here. He gave her his coat. That's the indicator.
I think in the situation with Jiyoung, he didn't have a coat, if I remember correctly. So he decided to joke and be like, "Oh, even if I had a coat, I wouldn't give it to you."
Oh yeah. I think you're right.
So he didn't. I don't know. Hopefully, he would have actually given Jiyoung his coat. They have to like hold hands to like balance on the stones or whatever. So that's cute.
Yeah.
Jimin says that she wished to always be in love. Is that like, I always want to be in love with somebody, but I don't know.
I think the I think the sentiment behind it was just like to like find her true love and then they'll be in love together forever or whatever. But I was like, you could totally be like in a one-sided love forever, and that would suck. That would be the bad way your wish gets granted.
Well, you think that's like really bad, but I mean it's not ideal, but at least you still love somebody. You have the feelings. Did we talk about this in the last episode? I think we did.
We did talk about this in the last episode, but it would be better to have them reciprocated.
Yeah, but she's not greedy with this wish. She just, I wish to always be in love.
I think she's just not cautious enough in her wishes. Wishes can be tricky. Turn out the worst possible way. You gotta write it like a lawyer to make sure you don't get trapped. That's how you gotta deal with wishes.
So you think Jumi would be the wish master?
Ooh, there you go. But maybe that's why Hoshin takes it so seriously. He's going through all the legalese of his wish to make sure nothing goes bad. He's on top of it.
Does Hoshin talk about his wish? I don't think he does.
I don't think he does. Okay. Because again, as somebody who takes a wish seriously, he probably thinks he shouldn't tell anybody what it is, or it won't come true.
Yeah, but you think if she asked him about his wish, and then he was like, "I can't say, otherwise it won't come true." Like that would have made the edit because it would have been funny.
That would have been funny. Yeah.
All right, they arrive at the cafe. Then Jimin is like, now she's like setting Hoshin up to ask her who she wants to date, or who she wants to date next. Is this what's going on? Because she remembers they show like these flashbacks that we saw before, but like she remembers the time where Hoshin asked him, and then she was like, I can't tell you that, even though they just agreed to be honest with each other or like to be truthful about everything. So yeah, Jimin, like, I don't know why. Jimin's weird. I'll be honest.
Yeah. But then like she doesn't tell him right away. Instead, she ends up asking him about like how he's feeling and how his feelings have changed like over the course of the show.
Yeah.
And so like the conversation diverts into that.
Yeah. And what was Hoshin saying here? Like it's basically just like the timeline of his emotions, I guess.
Yeah, well he started off by like saying, "Oh, well it's always been you ever since the first date." And I was like,
yeah, that was weird.
That's a lie. But then he like actually followed it up with an honest like timeline of like the art supply store date with Jiyoung like really was a turning point for him in starting to like her more. And then he like at a certain point thought Jimin liked him, but then he thought she might like somebody else instead. And so he sort of like kind of gave up on her, I guess, at that point or something.
Yeah.
And then the Everland date was also significant for him and his feelings about Jiyoung.
Yeah, I will say I do think Hoshin's explanation did line up with how he has texted, right? It seemed to be pretty right, because he was kind of like texting Jimin for a while, and we didn't really understand why because we weren't seeing anything. And then and then at some point he did switch to Jiyoung, and then now he's just recently now he realizes he doesn't really have a chance with Jiyoung.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he's gonna text Jimin in this episode too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's gonna finally switch back to Jimin in this episode, and then he actually ends up reiterating that he thinks Jiyoung is firm on Mingyu.
Yes.
Which is like, I don't know why he had to say that. It's like, just so you know, I'm also dating you now because Jiyoung is firm on Mingyu. It's like, okay.
It does not seem to bother her though, because then she's just like, well, yeah, I started having feelings for you about the time that you started thinking I didn't have feelings for you. And he's just like, what? Why did you ever show it? And she's just like, but I thought I did. Like, what are you talking about? So
yeah, they've
just been having a big miscommunication of not picking up each other's signals for a while now.
And that actually doesn't line up with Jimin's texting, although maybe Jimin isn't correctly interpreting the timing of what Hoshin is saying. Because like there was a time period where they were both texting each other. Like it's not Jimin texted G1 the whole beginning, and then at some point gave up, started texting Hoshin, and they were texting each other.
And it's been that the whole time, yeah.
And then Hoshin eventually switched to Jiyoung, but I don't know. It's like somehow a little bit validating the text, but also it's a little iffy. Then Jimin finally admits that she does like Hoshin. He finally says it. And then Hoshin seems confused but happy by this confession, because he feels like she never showed it.
Right. And she's just like, but I was so upset when you came home late from Jiyoung. And I'm like, how is he supposed to know that? How is that
Yeah.
A signal.
Yeah, a garbage signal. I still think like Jimin is here and she's participating in the show, but like I don't think she's having super strong feelings, nor do I see her having a real relationship with any of the guys in this house. So
yeah, I agree with
she
that.
might. I don't even know if she believes that she was being obvious. But she's like saying like, "Oh, but you're the only one I said this about, except for G1." Except she might. She said I never said that to the others, and I don't know if she meant the others as in Galray and Mingyu. And I don't know exactly the context of it, but it's like, oh yeah, you should.
But like, regardless, like, how's he supposed to know what she doesn't say to other guys? Like, that's.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, it
doesn't
make any sense in terms of. It doesn't make any sense in terms of like how would Hushin know? But does she actually believe that she thought she was obvious? I don't think she does. She just like is playing along with the show still.
Okay.
I said that if Jimin didn't waste her time going on dates with Ji-won, then Hushin and Jimin would be a couple. Like she went on a date with Ji-won on like the last 2 official dates.
Yeah, that's true.
And then like this one, the one from yesterday, like I think she couldn't avoid it. It wasn't really her fault.
Yeah.
But if she just like given up on Ji-won, because she did give up on Ji-won in terms of the texting before she had the official date with Ji-won, or it was that date? I forget exactly.
It might have been close, but I think she did stop texting him before the date. But she like had been waiting this whole time to go on a date with him. There was no way she wasn't going to take the opportunity.
Yeah. But if she had picked him, because they went on the first date together by random chance, and then if she had picked him again, Hushin might have just never developed significant feelings for Jiyoung compared to how he's feeling about Jiyoung. Yeah. All right, and that's pretty much the end of this date, right?
Yep. Yeah. Better date than the Yisu Mingyu date. So
I guess. I mean, to watch, I wasn't as interested.
Yeah, it was slightly cuter, and we have a proper confession in it, and like people getting on the same page about where their feelings have been. That's a successful date.
Yeah, Hushin and Jimin are cuter like people, so they were like the coupley things they were doing were cuter to me. But in terms of my belief that this is a thing, so I don't know. In terms of like intrigue on the show, I thought the other date was more interesting because I wrote again they might pick each other in the end, Jimin and Hushin, but I don't see this being a long-term thing. So maybe I just wasn't invested in the date as much. I don't know. I actually wrote here like I kind of just think Hushin should just pick Jiyoung in the end.
Yeah,
because like there's so much weirdness with the Mingyu stuff and whatever. Like
there is a chance she might actually pick him at the end.
Yeah, there like is a chance she might switch and pick him and just be like I don't know. Even if there's not a chance, right? But I don't see how he could like spend time with Jimin, and he's kind of expressed this a little bit before, and like actually think like, oh, this is a long-term relationship that's gonna happen. So
yeah, I don't think he actually believes that either. Yeah,
like he should be doing the same thing that I guess maybe Galray is hoping for, which is like, you know, you still show you're interested in her, and then we'll see after the show. I feel like it's a better play. Like once you pick Jimin for the show, it just like sends the wrong signals. I think if he actually
that's fair
wants to see Jiyoung after the show, so that I think that's what I would do. Screw leaving the show in a couple.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, you ready for the next date?
Yes.
All right.
This is
Jimin
and Jumi.
I immediately wrote, "Who cares?" And then I wrote in my notes, I refuse to write any notes for this date.
Okay.
Which is a note in and of itself. But then I ended up...
Yeah, that's true.
I did jot like 2 things down.
You did take some notes
but I
down.
didn't.
Okay.
I'm not giving you the play-by-play of this.
Okay.
Who cares?
I will fill in the things that I think are necessary. While they're in the car, she's basically like giving him advice, not giving him advice, where she's just like, aren't you worried that like other people are going to feel pressured by, I don't know, how you act in the house? Because he says something about like, you know, this whole time has been difficult and that's why he's pushing so hard. And he's just like, nope, I don't feel worried about people feeling pressured. Just gonna worry about myself. And she's like, okay, that's an option, I guess.
Yeah, my first note was Jumi tells Ji1 he should back off of Jiyoung. It's over, bro.
In the most roundabout way, but yes.
Yeah. And then my only other note is Jumi says she's just interested in Galray, so this is not Jumi. I don't think Jumi gave a shit about going on a date with Ji1. I think she
just kind of wanted to get out of the house.
Yeah, I think she just realized, like, oh, this is where this is going. I'll just make it happen now. That's all I have. They go to a lighthouse, if I recall.
They go to a lighthouse. They take some pictures. They are a little goofy. And then at the end, they kind of compare their situations again, where she says, she's just into Galray, but at this point, she's just going to wait. And he's like, I'm just going to keep trying. And she kind of tries to gently advise him to chill the fuck out again. And I don't think he takes that advice to heart at all. So, gonna keep on being who he is.
They're in like the exact same situation, and they're handling it in the exact opposite way.
I would think she's in a slightly better situation in that Galray will at least spend an afternoon with her. Like he does enjoy spending that amount of time with her, at least, probably because she's taking the opposite approach.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. All right, well, I'm done with that date.
Yep.
Okay.
Done.
We just edit that entire date out of the podcast.
No, because I like talking shit about G1 a little bit.
Okay. All right.
It's important.
All right, Jiyoung and Galray. Ready for this?
Yeah.
All right.
They're in a car for a while. Seems like they're not talking much, but they are sharing earbuds.
Yeah. As planned.
Instead of just playing. What do you mean as planned?
We're not going to talk. We're just going to not think about things.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was more confused, like, why they're not just playing music in the car and why they're doing it, this weird headphone situation, but whatever.
That's true, yeah. I don't know. Is it easier to talk if the music is only in one ear and not in the entire car? But they're also not talking, so I don't know.
I don't know.
I just wrote, date's going as planned. Solid.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking. That's what they planned on. All right.
Although he does eventually ask her why she didn't go out with Ji1 when he asked her. I did mean to say, like, I think this is the first time on any of these shows I've seen somebody, like, reject a date, right? Like, has anybody ever?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anybody's ever done that before.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen it. We've seen people, like, maybe on Singles Inferno, we saw people, like, say they were going to pick somebody and then they didn't. So, like, the other person, like, picked them because they have to, like, pick blindly and hope that they match on that show. But it's not quite like, hey, do you want to go on a date? And they're like, nah, I'm good.
Although I guess earlier in this season, like, she did try to ask Mingyu out and he just avoided talking to her as a way to, like, reject that situation, I guess. So that might also count.
No, that's not the same thing. I did write down, though, like, so if the situation at the table was less from Mingyu's perspective and we were getting it, like, Jiyoung's perspective, the timing of things is such that she's probably hoping that Mingyu's going to ask her, right?
Yes.
But then Ji1 asks her first, and so she's brave enough to be like, no, basically, like, she says I want to rest, but it's like, it could be like, no, I'm hoping somebody else asks me. And then after she says what she says, then Mingyu doesn't ask her. But, like, let's say it was the other way around. Like, let's say Galray asked Jiyoung first. Would she have rejected him and then agreed to go with Ji1 after Mingyu didn't ask her? You know what I mean?
Maybe.
So we there's a chance we're shitting on Ji1 too much, and it was just kind of the timing of everything. he got unlucky.
That might be true. But I do also I don't like his approach either. So I feel okay about shitting on him a bit.
I think Ji1's pretty bad. Like, least dateable person on the season to me.
I feel like he just shouldn't be on the show just because he's at work all the time, and it just makes the whole thing weird.
So
he pushes extra hard. Well, I think he pushes extra hard to make up for the fact that he's at work all the time, and it's weird. Like, if he was on the show a normal amount, maybe his approach would be chiller.
I'm not going to give him that much credit.
Okay.
I don't think he'd be doing that well, even if he didn't have to work. He was there the whole time.
Okay.
I think he still would be gunning for one person, and that person would not be reciprocating. All right. Galray tells Jiyoung that he's basically still stuck on her, right? Because, and he explains it, but he explains it as like, I can't really just get over you because I literally see you every day, right? Is the idea. Like,
yeah.
So he really makes it seem like he's like, I'm gonna pick you in the end, which is, seems bad for Jumi's chances on the show, at least. Like,
yeah,
Gowry's saying like, oh, once we're not on the show, theoretically, like, I'll get over you and whatever. But I understand what he's saying. Like, it would not be easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jiyoung does say she was impressed by his apology the other night, as we thought, but she says it.
Mm-hmm.
I think she articulates, I didn't write exactly what she said, but she articulates her feelings for Gowry, like, very nicely, right?
Yeah. In a way that I don't think is going to give him the wrong impression at all.
Maybe.
But still, like, well.
I don't know.
I would hope after all this. But
it's still a friendship situation from her.
Yeah,
end, right?
Exactly.
At least when she's saying it right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's more silence and thinking about feelings from both of them.
He acknowledges that she must be like so stressed out, and like that's when she's crying. It's because she's like, yes, I am so stressed out. Thank you for noticing.
I don't think she like directly started crying when he said that. It was just like they just sat there until they started crying. Like,
I guess
I think she was just thinking about some stuff. It wasn't. I don't think it was anything Gowry said. It was just like whatever they were talking about was making her think, and then she started crying. This is the crying from the preview.
Yeah.
Like in the previous situation between these two, like it was Gowry's fault that she was upset.
Yeah.
But this isn't really Gowry's fault this time. It's just like
it's just the whole situation. Yeah.
It's emotional conversation in an emotional situation. So the crying happens. It's fine.
Yeah.
Way to go, preview from last episode. Did they go to the same lighthouse that Jimin and G1 went to? Like, I swear they cut to the lighthouse again.
Yeah, they did. But then we didn't see them there. It was a weird shot.
It was like a drone view from far away, and then we never saw them actually talk or do anything at the lighthouse. I don't know if they just like, I don't even know if it was them at the location or if it was still G1 and Jumi.
It might have been like a weird sudden cut back to them.
They just messed up the edit a little bit there. I don't know what happened. Jian asks Gowry why he liked her, and then Gowry gives the answer that kind of similar to what Hoshin said that you liked.
Yeah.
I liked myself when I was with you. So, Sarah, are you rooting for Gowry now?
No, because the way Hoshin said it was more impassioned and like it was a bunch of things.
Okay.
It wasn't just, I don't know. Gary's just like, whatever. I don't know. It's still a nice thing to say, but it didn't hit me the way the Hoshin confession hit me, you know?
Now that both of them have said it, I just think this is some bullshit that you say when like, maybe. I don't know if I could ever hear this and take it like super seriously, because it's just like it's just like a thing people say, I think. You know?
Yeah, that might also
it's like
be
a
true.
meme at this point to say stuff like this.
Yeah, I mean it might be a bit cliche, but it might be cliche for a reason, you know? Like, I don't know, people probably do genuinely feel this way.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay. All right, they arrive at a cafe.
And yeah, they kind of just space out and look at the ocean for a while.
Jiyoung says she did want to talk to Gowry, but didn't want to ask him and confuse him, which makes sense. Yes. She wants to be friends and doesn't, And then he invites her to his cafe when they get back to Seoul. Yes. And then he's like, do you want to do Wednesday or Thursday? And she's like, Wednesday, because I already have plans with Mingyu, but doesn't say that.
But I thought she had made Thursday plans with Mingyu because she already had Wednesday plans.
Oh, who does she have Wednesday plans
with? Maybe she has Wednesday dinner plans and this is post-dinner. I don't know.
Well, Gowry has a plan with Jumi for Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, but they haven't picked that we've seen. Yeah. I don't think we've seen anything with Jiyoung plans that I can think of.
Yeah, I think she just said like she was busy on Wednesday, but maybe it's not even a show
with
thing.
Mingyu.
Yeah, when she was with Mingyu, she's like, let's do Thursday because I'm busy on Wednesday. And it might just be like she has a dinner thing with a friend or something. And then like post that, she'll go to the cafe. I don't know.
With Mingyu, they're trying to do dinner together. But this is like a cafe, so it doesn't. It could be a different time of day. Okay, I see what you're saying.
And I think he specifically is like, you know, you can just come over like right before it closes. And then, you know, it'll just be us in there and we can talk or whatever. And yeah, they have an awkward like after hours plan at the cafe.
Oh, okay. Does that mean it's like super late at night? When do cafes close? Probably pretty late.
Okay, well, yeah, especially like in Seoul, I feel like everything's open super late.
It went at like 2 a.m. one time, supposedly.
Yeah, I don't know. But also, it's his cafe, and he can close it down whenever he wants. So who knows?
Yeah, that's true. You can just they can just go open it. She doesn't have to be there when it closes. It's just we can go and open it up. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
They end up walking around, and then they find like another place to sit and talk. This date's actually like longer than some of the other ones.
Yeah.
Their day seems like it lasted the longest, and then they're gonna end up just based on like the way the sky was with them compared to everybody else, and then they're gonna end up being like the last ones to arrive at the airport. So.
Yep.
Also, I feel like everybody else kind of stayed near the shore, and did they like drive inland to go to this cafe that Gyaore found? They could have just traveled further than everybody else did.
I think they traveled further. Yeah.
Okay. Also, we find out Jiyoung has been to Gyaore's cafe before as a customer. Okay, that's the first we're hearing about that. Maybe she didn't actually know which cafe was his. Like she never brought it up before.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Jiyoung tells him that she feels better because of their date today. And then Gyaore says he feels nervous whenever she says stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it because it gives him hope? Like, what is he saying here?
He's just nervous whenever she talks. He's just got butterflies all the time around this girl.
He says specifically when she says stuff like that. Like, when she is like, says something that... My take is like, whenever she says something that would make you kind of think that she might like you. Then he gets nervous. He uses the word nervous. Yeah. Which...
Maybe that's... Yeah.
I'm assuming he's saying like nervous in like the heart flutter kind of way, but I don't know. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I would think so. But then doesn't she say some weird shit that like, I don't know. She's like, the way she feels about him has changed over time. And if there was more time, she thinks she might change more. But she doesn't seem to indicate in what way or what's happening. And I just feel like that was too vague of a statement to say to this guy who was hung up on her.
Yeah. So, like, she's taking it like Gyaore is, again, trying to almost keep the door open for for being a romantic aspect of their relationship. And then there's, like, an awkward, like, it seems like Jiyoung doesn't know what to say, period. And then they're just, like, awkwardly making eye contact. Like, they're just kind of staring at each other. Yeah. And then she said what you said, like, I think, or she says if they had more time, she might change and see him differently. Yeah. But we have to assume she's saying, like, but it's not going to happen on the show, right? Like, this isn't a, like, a late in the game possibility here. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Okay. But I do think he will read into it in a way that's more favorable to him, that is less accurate.
What it is like, I think this is enough if you're Gyaore that it's like, oh, I'm going to pick Jiyoung in the end. Yeah. I like her enough. I want her to know that I picked her.
Yeah, definitely.
It's kind of the same thing that I think Hoshin should do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I am getting the vibe that all the... everybody but Mingyu is going to pick Jiyoung. And then it just comes down. I guess that based on my logic, it is possible that he picks Yisu.
Yep.
All right.
Everyone will be sad at the end of the show.
What a shitty ending to this season if that's what happens. My God. It would make sense if that ends up being the case.
Maybe Mingyu and Yisu will be very happy. Who knows? Maybe there's just something we're missing and they're perfect together.
Yeah, that's possible. I mean, let's cast people that are going to be cute on dates. Like, I don't know why Yisu's on the show. Like, she's like, is she the hot one? People said she was the hot one. Is she the hot one?
Yeah. Okay. And especially because she was the game changer, you know, one of the later comers. She was supposed to be very different from the other women to, like, shake things up. Okay. Which I think is why she got casted.
Okay. And then Jiyoung encourages him to follow his emotions, which, again, if you're Gyaore, you're like, all right, well, you know my emotions, and you said to follow my emotions, so I guess I should follow my... Yeah. Okay. Weird. I will say that it's a weird thing to say if she's not going to pick him. Like, it seems like the perfect thing to say if it's like, hey, my feelings are changing, and I'm not supposed to tell you exactly, but I think you should follow your emotions.
Yeah, but I don't think that's what's happening here.
I think this is kind of a... She shouldn't be saying this if she's not going to pick him, which I don't think she's going to.
Yeah.
But maybe she feels like she might pick him in this moment, but like then she's gonna go on a date with, like, theoretically her last date on the show might be Mingyu, which could be a big factor.
Yeah.
And then they drive home in the dark. Anything else you want to say on this date? They do talk in the car, but I didn't have anything.
Yeah,
nothing.
Okay. Nothing big.
They do make this date again. Like they make this date seem very good with the music, which I'm like, no way, this is a thing. So now I'm like, with the Yisu Mingyu thing, I'm like, okay, maybe that's also not a thing. I will say that Gyaore and Jiyoung are cute together. Like in the car, they're back and forth. It's mostly like, to me, it's mostly just like Jiyoung's like just super cute though. But
yeah, she's cute all the time.
So. Gyaore is the funniest, I will say, with Jiyoung. Like at some point I think he changed a little bit. Like he stopped being nervous and he was like, I'm just gonna go for it. And then he started being more casual.
Yeah, he opened up more and it got silly.
Yeah, he got better as the season went on.
Yeah, because like episode 1 of him was just like, oh, hard getting words out of this guy. Okay.
He was like hella stiff and awkward, I would say, in the beginning.
100%.
All right, that's the end of that date.
Yep.
They all meet at the airport.
Yeah, and go back home.
Yeah. All right. And the next thing we see, they're back in Seoul at the house. So yeah, that was a fast flight.
Yeah. And the girls are asking each other what they like best about their trip/dates. And Yisu liked the wetlands date with Mingyu. No surprise there.
They basically all say the person we expect, right? I didn't even write them down. Except until we get to Jiyoung, right?
Yeah, because Jiyoung says the drive along the coast with Gyaore was what she liked best.
Yeah. And she said it's making her choice more difficult. So I don't know, like, because she said that thing about...
Maybe something is happening.
Yeah, I don't believe, because of the edit, I guess I don't buy this as what's going to happen at the end. But in terms of, okay, how is Jiyoung actually feeling in this moment? She might actually be, like, feeling something for Gyaore and thinking, like, oh, maybe this is a better person for me. Because I would hope she wouldn't have said the follow your emotions thing unless she was feeling something. Yeah, and then she's going to say to the women, which, you know, it seems like the women are fairly honest with each other, other than Yisu's kind of, what is a Yisu? But
yeah, Yisu lies, yes.
Yeah, she, like, says, oh, my time with Gyaore is making her choice more difficult. So I think in the moment there's some legitimacy to this. And then we get, like, a camera shot of Jumi's face. Jumi notices this change in behavior. Okay.
Doesn't look good for Jumi.
And then Gyaore is in his bed looking at the pictures from his date with
just smiling at his phone.
Just smiling at his phone. And then Mingyu just, like, notices. Okay. All right. Well, time for texts.
Yep.
Go ahead. Give them to me.
Okay. Mingyu picks Yisu. Ji1 picks Jiyoung. Jumi picks Gyaore. Jimin picks Hoshin. Yisu picks Mingyu. Gyaore picks Jiyoung. Hoshin picks Jimin. Jiyoung picks Mingyu. So despite how that little road trip felt, that drive along the coast, she's still texting Mingyu.
Jiyoung is still texting Mingyu. That's true, yeah. It wasn't enough for her to change her text, supposedly.
Yep.
But from last episode, the changes were Gyaore switched back to Jiyoung. He texted Jumi because they went on a date, maybe. Last Hoshin switched back to Jimin, which that seems authentic.
Yeah,
authentic change.
And Jiyoung had picked Hoshin last time.
Yeah, which was also maybe a date text situation. But she went back to Mingyu. Maybe that scheduling a date just felt so good, even though that was their only interaction today.
Yeah, but also, like, maybe the last text came after Yisu was like, "Oh yeah, we really became a couple today," and she was like, "Well, I guess I'm not texting that fucking guy," you know, like that might also explain her Hoshin text. I'm
saying, like, the best she might have felt all day was just when she talked to Mingyu and scheduled a date.
Yeah.
Although that's not what she told the women. She could have been like,
that's true.
So what if she told the women, that 5-minute conversation I had with Mingyu was the best time of the entire Yasu experience.
You know what? That
would have been amazing.
If she was Yisu, she would have said that. Like, that's 100% what Yisu would say.
I didn't get to spend any time with Mingyu, but we did talk for 5 minutes, and that was the best time. That's great. All right. You want to do the previews for episode 14?
Yeah. Looks like we get a Hushin and Jiyoung date again.
And a Hushin and Jimin date. Double
Hushin
Hushin
and
action.
Jimin date. Looks like G1 is still trying to get with Jiyoung.
Yeah.
Probably still not working.
I hope that doesn't take up too much time in the episode.
Yep. And then we get our Gyeori and Jiyoung date, and everyone seems real upset that they're out really late.
Yeah. Mingyu is asking where Jiyoung is. And then it was like, oh, never mind. Everybody's freaking out about this.
Yeah, everybody. Like, it must be so late.
But maybe they do go when it closes, and it closes at like midnight or some shit. So it's like,
yeah.
All right, could be spicy. I did kind of feel like there were a few moments in this episode where I was like, is the show running out of story? Like, they're...
Yeah.
Like, especially I mean, I guess it was a big moment, or they were able to make it a big moment, the whole breakfast thing.
Yeah.
But it was like really stretched out. And to make it like as awkward as possible. I don't know.
Or stretched out so you authentically felt how awkward that whole situation was.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I guess I didn't write down my notes, but there were a few times where I was like, "There's no story here. We don't have to. I don't have to pay attention to this part of the episode."
Mm-hmm.
But okay, it's got to be. I just think it's got to be tough to edit the show. Like the way that these things usually play out is like it's almost hard to believe that there's so many people that are not decided.
Yeah.
I was thinking like the biggest reason that they stopped sending the texts to the contestants is because it would make him too easy for them to couple up. Like if every day they got like confirmation, like this person's still choosing me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they would be a lot clearer on things.
And the fact that they're not getting the text is what is actually making it super confusing.
Mm-hmm. Like, I think if they were sending these texts out, like, Jiyoung would have given up on Mingyu a while ago.
If the texts are real, yeah. But also, I was thinking more like if Hushin had seen that Jimin was texting him.
Yeah. It'd
have to be obvious that it was Jimin, which they don't often do, but...
They are quite bad at texting frequently.
I understand why they're confused, because they're not really... They're not allowed to access to all the information.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I think that's it.
A bit of a weird episode. I felt like.
Yeah, I'm kind of ready for things to wrap up. I don't know how they're gonna get this many more episodes out of this, but we'll see.
I'm still intrigued by some of these dates that they've planned, and I do want to see them.
Yeah,
but like there are characters that I'm just done with, like G1. I'm done with.
You've been done with him.
I've been done with G1 for a long ass time.
Yeah.
Jumi, I was interested in Jumi Gyabre, but now I'm like, it seems like Jumi's kind of
that's not happening. Show. Yeah.
Okay, next time we're gonna talk about Heart Signal 4 episode 14.
Yeah. Wrap this show up.
I mean, we're not
week to week. Well, I mean, like that. We're gonna keep doing this show until it's done, which is soon.
I feel like it's gonna be only Wednesday, and we're gonna get another like kind of not as much good story, and it's gonna be kind of stretched out.
Mm-hmm.
Like if Friday's the last day, then literally the last 3 episodes are like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, these last couple episodes are.
Oh, we'll see.
Okay.
Might not be a lot happening.
Really stretching out.
Or it might get real spicy. I don't know. Real question is, will Mingyu make any sense? I don't think he will.
Are other people? I want to know. Like, are other people as confused as Sarah is about Mingyu? Because I'm actually like don't see eye to eye with you on this.
Okay. You don't think he's acted in a way that is confusing at all? Like who he's picked and what he's done and how he's talked about other women on dates all makes sense?
The talking about other women on dates doesn't bother me as much. Like, is it something that a normal person would choose to do? No, but also, I don't know. There's something about the honesty that is healthy in a way.
Okay.
It doesn't bother me that he talks about other women on the dates, but yeah. What he said to Yisu in this episode is by far the weirdest thing. Just because, but it's partially my bias is because of that. So, but then you would kind of agree that it just didn't seem right what he was saying. So,
yeah,
if I choose to believe what you're saying, then everything kind of makes sense to me again. Like,
okay,
he likes Yisu, right? But somehow Yisu thinks he like really likes her, and then he's being like, well, I do like you, so, like I want to we're on the show, like I want to date you, but also I might not pick you in the end, so let's I don't know, I see the world where what Mingyu is doing makes sense.
Okay.
Alrighty. Where can people contact us, Sarah?
People can email us at keepwatchingpod@gmail.com, tweet at us at keepwatchingpod, Instagram at us at keepwatchingpod, leave a comment under the video on YouTube also at keepwatchingpod. And if, all these public forums make you a little nervous, you don't want to leave a comment about anything there, you can leave a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify if that feels a little less like 6 people staring at you at breakfast while you try to ask out a girl. So yeah.
Okay. I actually forgot to mention that my review is on there. Did you see it?
Oh yeah, I saw it. Your review is on there.
Okay.
so we have one review.
It took a while.
From you. It doesn't count.
It took a while to show up.
Yeah, it takes a couple days apparently to show up.
Yeah.
There's like a review process or something that goes through Apple.
That episode has only been out for like a day and a half, so people at the time of this recording, people that might leave reviews might not have listened all the way to the end of the last podcast.
This is true. This is true.
Maybe we'll get them. Maybe we won't. Alrighty, Sarah. You done? You good?
I'm good. Let's wrap it up.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.
Bye.